Buenos días, mucho gusto. Soy su profesor Rolando Victoria o el señor Victoria. Dígame Rolando, ¿está bien? Me gustaría saludar a todos nuestros colegas de Guatemala, nuestros maestros. Buenos días. ¿Están listos para toda una experiencia? Para integrar todo lo que es ciencia, ingeniería, pero más que nada ser curiosos. Playnovate designs this amazing PowerPoints and hands-on kits that are just already prepared for the students. And really, the role for the teacher is to be able to deliver that properly, and it's well balanced in terms of the amount of material that you present, the pace that you present per lesson, and it just feels like the right balance with the online style of giving the students a presentation but allowing them to do a lot of hands-on and experimentation and inquiry learning. My concerns were based in the fact that it's the first time I have ever taught a lesson online. I've always been a classroom teacher, so I really didn't know if I was going to be able to reach all the students in Guatemala just using an online platform. To my surprise, that was not the case. When we connected from day one, from lesson one, the team in Guatemala, they were just amazing in how everything was prepared and set up in such a way that I felt that I was in the classroom. And the level of engagement, it was just phenomenal. And it just felt that I was there. I felt that I was reaching them. From the first 5-6 minutes that I started my first lesson, I knew that Playnovate had made the impact to reach these kids, and the students were just amazing. There was one experiment that I was preparing back at home, and I just couldn't do it. I had to do this hands-on thing, and it had to do with electricity, and there was something that I had to build, and it was just not working. And I was thinking to myself, how am I going to teach this to these kids? I said, you're just going to have to try with them. And I remember waking up the next day, doing the experiment, doing it with them also sharing how they were successful doing it. And I remember getting it with them, being there with them. And they saw my excitement. They saw how I was also, with them, and I was learning from them. To me, that was probably one of the most amazing moments, that I could share that part of me. And I told them, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, but let's try it. I've tried it before, and you have helped me. So that.
I observed those students get to the point where they were rising from a work collaborative table space, approaching a microphone and speaking to a teacher in another country and answering questions with confidence and willing to take a risk. I know some of the students in those classrooms, and their shyness and the reticence to put themselves out there. I watched 80% of that class get up and go to that microphone and speak to Rolando, your teacher in California. And the level of engagement that it was producing with these kids, I never saw one kid, I'm not making this up, not one time did I see a kid look out the window or lose track. Do you know what we found out about attendance on our STEAM days? It's the highest percentage of attendance of any other day of the week is the day that we have STEAM. And we're being told, talking about engagement, we're being told that kids are telling their parents, even if there's a potential that they might be out of school, like, I can't miss the STEAM day.
When I first heard that Playnovate had reached that 99.9% goal of attendance, I truly couldn't believe it. I knew we were working with Safe Passage, which is a community in Guatemala.
Estos niños son niños que viven en una comunidad de riesgo en los alrededores del relleno sanitario de la ciudad de Guatemala. Entonces, la posibilidad de acceder a una educación de calidad es algo que no es una posibilidad para ellos. Entonces, cuando construimos esta nueva visión de colegio, pensamos en ofrecer una educación de calidad, pero también una educación que pudiera brindarles a los niños la oportunidad de desarrollarse y desenvolverse desde un crecimiento integral, porque pensamos desde una línea constructivista que los niños merecen la oportunidad de crear, poder participar y poder aportar a su comunidad con esta nueva experiencia.
The level of engagement and inquiry learning that we see in the students, that we're teaching something that is meaningful. It goes beyond what a textbook would teach them. Every lesson that they do, it is evident and clear that they feel that there's a specific learning targets that they have reached. They feel fulfilled. So once you leave a classroom feeling fulfilled and you feel smarter, you've learned more, I think that can have incredible repercussions in your overall experience in other classes in school, because if you feel good about yourself, you'll be more open to learning.
Esto utiliza energía magnética, lo cual hace que la fuerza del imán impulse a la aguja y se pueda mover.
What Playnovate does is that it takes away that old school pedagogy and brings on a hands-on experience that is very difficult to design for the right age, the right cognitive level, the right academic level.
El ambiente en la clase ha cambiado debido a que todos los estudiantes están concentrados en lo que van a hacer, están prestando atención, son más colaborativos porque si a su compañero de la par no le sale, ellos le explican. Hay compañeritos que hasta se levantan para otros grupos, están atentos y sí están motivados a poder reflexionar más acerca de los temas y motivados para que al día siguiente lo complementemos y vamos a estudiar.
So the way Playnovate designs each lesson, it's done in such a way that will motivate kids to learn by creating an atmosphere of hands-on experience that goes beyond the test. Because at the end, yes, there's some questions to clarify, to make sure, to check for understanding. But the real moment where the learning happens and that both students and teachers know it's happening is through that process of doing hands-on experiments and seeing everything that you have in each lesson put into action.
Mi experiencia es de que las cosas me gustan y entonces yo puedo ayudar a los demás o los demás me pueden ayudar a mí. Me ha ayudado a desenvolverme más y a ser más curioso, no quedarme con la clase que he aprendido, sino que ir a algo.
3, 2, 1, vámonos.
The most important piece for me, not only as a director but as an educator, is when you're creating a classroom dynamic, a culture of learning in the class. This is as much art form as it is science to do that. But the actual lessons themselves, the style of instruction, has to be a tool to create culture in the class. Now, what do we mean by that? We're talking about the fact that ideas are welcome. You fail forward, you make a mistake, you press on. These are exactly the type of cultural aspects that we have to have in our classrooms to serve our population of kids who go through a life where they're challenged every day to even find a reason to go to school. Motivation links to self-value, and the activities themselves produce that. This particular framework of lesson construction and student-centered learning and abstract thinking combined with concrete thinking is exactly the type of lesson structure we have to have in this school for that.
And that in itself is better than any standardized test that you can give, because the experiments are there. You can see the result with your own eyes, things that you've created as a student and that you've put into action, these concepts, and then you can make that personal connection, and there it is. There's the evidence. That is 21st century skills. That is how modern schools should be teaching science.
La comunicación de ellos hacia él ha sido más técnica, no solo es de este plástico, este tornillo, sino que ellos ya hablan de poleas, hablan de ruedas, hablan de fuerza, hablan de cordeles. En las clases de Playnovate me siento satisfecha porque sé que los estudiantes han aprendido, se han desenvuelto más, han sido más independientes, más prácticos, más analíticos.
También el hecho de verlos crecer académicamente, porque ya están ellos aplicando conocimientos, aplicando todo lo que han aprendido en lecciones anteriores, porque hay repasos de todo lo que se hace. Entonces están todos listos, pendientes para poder expresar lo que han aprendido, practicado adicional de lo que Rolando les da. Las maestras, a la hora de participar dentro de las actividades que se organizan, es muy importante verlas, no solo perder también el miedo de conocer a Rolando y toda la dinámica, pero también el prepararse, el saber qué viene después de las ideas que da Rolando, poderlas implementar, hacerlas aplicar en otras áreas para que ellas también se puedan preparar con temas, conceptos y si funciona o no un experimento. Eso es parte de lo que les ha tocado también a ellas jugar y experimentar.
And the STEAM program and these projects, they gradually build on solutions. And in each hierarchical step in building those solutions, mistakes are made, creative problem solving ensues, and the student builds confidence in the unknown, right? And that is a role model for our entire curriculum and delivery of educational services here. And it's a way for us to have a specific example of how to teach.
Never done any online teaching before, and seeing the kids in Guatemala and all the teachers, they're ready, and seeing every kid engage in doing what we plan for them is just something I will never forget. I could feel and see the impact the Playnovate actually had in mind and how we were able to reach that. It was just amazing.